PWHL Toronto is off to the postseason as the number one seed. Who will they select as their first round opponent? Hey everyone, welcome into Inside the PWHL. Rob Wong joined alongside by Mike Ganter of the Toronto SUN. And Mike, after their 4-1 win over Minnesota, PWHL Toronto locking up the number one seed heading into the playoffs. Still one more regular season game left to play, but hard for Toronto not to look ahead to the postseason. And of course, one of the cool wrinkles of this league is that they will get to pick their first round opponent, and still some jockeying for third and fourth place. But as it stands right now, who would you select if you were Toronto?
Well, right now, like you said, there's still some jockeying to go on. To go on, they're going to go pick between one of Minnesota, Boston, or Ottawa. If I had to guess right now, I would say that it's probably going to be Boston that doesn't make it into that mix. So picking between Minnesota and Ottawa, it really is a tough one. I mean their worst record in the league head to head is against Ottawa, and I still think they're going to pick Ottawa, just because like I said, they're 1-4 against them, or sorry, 1-3 with a game to play on Sunday, and I just like the head to head matchups. Jocelyn Larocque did not play in one of those games, and I understand that's just one player, and it shouldn't mean like the difference between winning or losing. But this team relies on Renata Fast and Jocelyn Larocque so much that taking her out of the mix for that one game really threw this team in a loop, and they were not themselves. There was another game they lost 6-2 in Toronto against Ottawa, and they didn't even look like themselves. I don't even consider those two games part of the mix, to be honest. And if you do that, then they played them pretty much even. And I just get the feeling that they're going to select Ottawa, just because I think they feel like they can beat them in the playoffs. Minnesota they're struggling right now, but that's a team that could wake up at any moment. I mean, they've got Taylor Heisey, Grace Thumwinkle, Kendall Coyne-Schofield, a stacked defense with Lee Steckline, and then they've added Sophie Jakes. They're not playing great at the moment, but the moment they turn it on, they can beat you. And I just think Toronto has a better feel for Ottawa right now. They play two very different styles, Ottawa and Toronto. Ottawa's pretty loose. They open things up. They let things flow. Toronto's very tight, controlled. They grind it out a bit more. So yeah, if you had to put a gun to my head, I would definitely say Ottawa. Having said that, they may just go into this and say, look, we're just going to take the team that's fourth. We earned the fourth place team. We're number one. We're going to take the fourth place team. And that takes away any motivation for an opponent. So that might be a smart move as well.
Yeah, definitely could be. It's going to be really interesting to see what happens there. So you mentioned the way that Toronto has played for the most part of this season. And after watching 23 regular season games, what do you think is their identity as they head into the playoffs?
Yeah, their identity is exactly the one they wanted to have at the beginning of the year. And they didn't get there right away, but it's tough to play against and just they don't, and persistent. They're on the puck. They're very physical. I had a talk with, I asked both Sarah Nurse and Blair Turnbull about this, and just like, what do other teams think of you guys? And Sarah said that she's had people like, well, certainly her friends in New York told her they didn't want anything to do with her or with that Toronto team after January. They had no interest in playing them. They didn't enjoy it. They didn't like it. I asked Blair the same thing, and she said, sometimes she says, you'll go into the corner and you'll know the player, having played with them internationally or whatever, and things will get a little rough, and you get this eye roll. She goes, but we brush it off because that's who we want to be. We want to be that team that's tough to play against, and you really can't argue with the results. I mean, teams do not enjoy playing against this Toronto team. You've got bangers like Allie Monroe, Renata Fast, Emma Malte, maybe 5'4" or 3 or whatever she is, but she hits a ton. I mean, those are just the top hitters. The entire team is physical. I left out Jocelyn Larocque. She'd be mad about that. She's also physical. They're so it comes from Troy Ryan. It's the kind of team he wants, And like I said, they didn't get there right away. It took about 6 games, but once they got there, they haven't missed a beat since.
Yeah, they have figured it out for sure and look incredible. Heading into the playoffs, we'll see who they select. As always, leave your thoughts in the comments section below for all of Mike's PWHL coverage. Head over to the Toronto Sun.